What's up, everybody? It's the Loudmouth, your boy Tim, the liberal loudmouth.
And as y'all always know, wherever Tim the
Always.
liberal loudmouth, the real Ron's here, and we got a special one for you tonight. Oh, this is gonna be big, Tim.
Yeah,
I love this.
Yeah, it's gonna be awesome. We just got in touch with some awesome teachers. Nadine Gallagher, who's a middle school English teacher and local association president, and Amanda Jeffers. I've got something playing in my ear. Let me find it and turn it off real quick.
Yeah, because you're
goodness gracious. I was hearing myself, but it was delayed by like 10 seconds.
Yeah, and hearing you is horrible, but go ahead.
We got Amanda Jeffers, who's a high school English teacher. Let's go ahead and bring them on in. What's up, y'all?
Hi.
How y'all doing?
We're good.
Hey, how you doing, ladies? Hey, I love the waterfall curls. I really do. And I love the glasses. I wear contacts, but I really appreciate y'all coming on. I didn't mean to take your thunder, Tim. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I'm excited. I'm excited. Go ahead.
It's fine. I believe this interview was born from interviews that you did on your show, the Ron. Is that correct, Ron?
That is correct. I had two conservative teachers. Yeah, I had two conservative teachers. I love them to death. Amy Cook and Linda Hayes came on. They're from up here in Northeast Oklahoma. And Amanda was getting on me on Facebook. She's like, well, why don't you have liberals on? I was like, come on. I love it. Come on. Please come on and talk to me. Yeah. And so I was like, well, I can't do this without my boy Tim. So we wanted to go big with this. So let's go big.
Yeah, I mean, to all liberals out there, we welcome everybody. I mean, that's the whole point of the show.
I love everybody.
He's a conservative, and I mean, that's what the show is all about, is bringing people together to show everybody that we may not be as different as you think we are.
Well, and I got a secret.
Go ahead.
I was a Republican for 15 years.
Oh,
okay. All right.
That's what
I have a not so secret. I have never been a Republican.
Oh my! And I can tell by the way you're speaking, you're not from Oklahoma.
I'm from New Jersey.
Oh my gosh!
I'm a Democrat, and I have been a Democrat since when I was 17 and registered to vote.
You probably get a lot of the. Can you say that again, please?
Yes.
and just to be honest, real quick. Here in Owasso, it is storming like really bad.
It did that here about 3 hours ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We sent it to you.
Yeah. If we lose connection or something, it's not us. It's Jesus. And
we'll try to get it back up as soon as possible. The other ones will reconnect, but I'm the one hosting this, so if I lose it, we're all gone. But we'll get it back up as quick as we can. So, Ron, you had some topics that I believe everybody wanted to go over.
I did. Can you pull that up actually and show them that I'm being fair and honest? Because this is the same thing that I went over with the conservative teachers who are my friends. I've met them personally, but I gave them the opportunity to talk about stuff that they're experiencing as conservatives in school. And I wanted to do the same thing with my liberal friends here. The first thing was,
there we are right there.
And we're like,
let me see if I can scroll in here a little bit. Can you all hear the thunder?
Okay,
yeah.
All right.
The CRT. So let's talk about that first. Okay, that seems to be because that's a thing that really like ignites my endorphins. I'm like, CRT, no. You're not going to teach my son that he's a white supremacist. You're not going to teach a black kid that he's oppressed because he's black. SEL program. So I know it's been taught in TPS, and I know for a fact I have the proof. What do y'all have to say about CRT, SEL, stuff like that? Go ahead. I'm gonna give it to you. Go ahead.
Okay, first, what is CRT?
Yeah, what is CRT? Do you know?
Teaching children that they are either oppressed or privileged because of their skin color.
That is not CRT. CRT is graduate level coursework that started being taught in law school and is taught in a handful of graduate schools in the United States.
It's talking about systemic racism.
Yes, systemic racism.
And how laws and the justice system might have some systemic
in particular in our legal system.
Mm-hmm.
And there is systemic racism. If you are a brown-skinned person trying to get a fair trial and the only people who show up for jury duty are white, you are not being tried by a jury of your peers.
Right.
And that's what CRT is.
Why do you think that?
People are complaining about and outraged about is
Nadine.
It's not CRT.
Nadine, why do you not think that if 12 white people show up and you're a brown person, you're not being judged by a jury of your peers?
Because do you know Mrs. Elliott? Have you ever seen her?
Yes.
Yes, Mrs. Elliott. She did a thing with adults. And at one point she said, how many of you would change today and become African American in the United States? And nobody stood up. And what she then said was, I think you misunderstood the question. Who would switch today? And nobody would, because we understand that being Black in America is not as easy as being white in America. And that's a fact.
There is racism.
There are racist people everywhere.
This is going to be good, Tim. This is going to be good, Tim. Go ahead, Tim. Because Tim agrees with y'all.
I agree with everything you just said. I think the only
this is going to be good.
I think the only issue that I have is that if we are pushing that stuff in school, where I believe, and I'm not saying that they are, but if we see things that are being that way, I don't know that it's the school's responsibility to push social issues, and that they're just there to teach, whereas the parents should be the ones to cover the social boundaries, if that makes any sense.
I want to interject here a bit. As a high school English teacher, I do allow the students to pick their own issues. We do, it's required by the state standards to do persuasive essays. And so social issues are great. It gets the kids engaged. We are trying to raise citizens here too. We want them to be socially engaged with the issues in their community, the issues that affect them. And so I allow them to pick their own issues within reason, as long as they can talk about it in an academic manner. And so I do have kids who pick things like systemic racism. I have kids who pick abortion issues, but that's not me preaching those issues.
Right.
They do their own research. They come up with their own arguments, and there is no judgment from me other than, are you indenting your paragraphs? Do you have evidence? Are you using MLA format? Are you capitalizing your eyes?
Yeah, that's a big thing.
Did you cite your sources? Also, the big one, citing sources.
That is a thing that sometimes will come up, because what is a source versus just I'm sure Ron has a great Facebook page, but you're not a source.
Right.
No,
I'm so sorry.
I disagree, Nadine. I'm pretty much I've been wrong twice. I've been married 3 times. So this is I'm pretty much a source. I love that y'all. I don't want to go off the rails this early in the program.
Shouldn't have had us on.
No, I love that y'all are on. The CRT, I don't think it's widespread, but I think it is very subtle. I really do. Why not just do basics? Teach them to read, write, and do arithmetic.
And I agree with you to a certain extent, but here's my problem with this, and I've gotten in trouble. If a kid in my class, because part of teaching is to build a relationship with students, they have to know that they can trust me and that I care about them. And if they ask me a question and I say, well, I can't answer that question. If you ask me a question, I will answer your question honestly, as long as it is not personally intrusive. And you would be shocked and horrified the questions that 12-year-olds will ask a teacher when they know that they are safe to ask it. Yeah. And they come up with things that, and they, like even political commercials. One girl came into my class and said, I was watching it because I told them I have a civics class. And I said, I want you to watch an hour of news, and I want you to notice how many commercials are political. And then we're going to do it after Thanksgiving, because it takes a while for those commercials to die down. Then I'm going to have them do the same thing and note how many commercials are not political, and see how much politics gets into every aspect of your life simply from commercials. And one girl came in and said, abortion is illegal in Oklahoma. And I said, whoa, where did you get that? She said, it was a Kevin Stick commercial. And I said, okay, yes, it is.
I mean, we not talk about the governor's commercials when the kids ask about it.
Right.
And I said, yes, it is. And they said, why? And I said, well, you're going to have to look it up, Google it.
You have me on this one.
What to believe. We don't tell them what to believe.
Now, are there teachers that do? Absolutely,
Yeah,
there are. Absolutely, there are. But there are this many.
Okay. Hang on. Slow down. Calm. We got all kinds of time. It's raining. It feels good. And you have me on this one because this is where I stray away from the Republican Party as far as abortion. If y'all want to go into abortion, we could do that. But I cannot. If you're talking about an individual's liberties, you cannot tell a woman what she can do or not do with her body.
Yeah.
I feel like that is a real American attitude, to be honest, when we're talking about personal liberty.
Yes.
Absolutely. If
High five, we agree.
Absolutely.
We agree. Look, we agree.
And but in the same respect, the CRT, the SEL, the religious stuff, I love Jesus, but none of that belongs in schools, in public schools. It does not.
Yeah. Now, I would like to speak to that a little bit. I think what they're saying is that these conversations are going to come up because it's part of life, and children should be free to, and the teachers should also be free to build a relationship. And if a student is asking an educator, hey, what is this or what is that? I do agree that the teacher should be allowed to answer that to the best of their knowledge without trying to push any one agenda or whatever. And all sides should be given. And I have no problem with that whatsoever. But I do want to bring up to what Ron's point is, just a couple of things so that y'all can look at it and maybe give your own opinion about whether you think it's going too far. If that makes sense. Let me put this up real quick.
And this is something,
So right here we have this door, say their name. Now, on its face, it's to me, because I've lived through all of these things here, and I was a big advocate. It's Freddie Gray and Alton Sterling.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? It is essentially a political door because a lot of those things turned into political issues. And that is, while I agree it's speaking to systemic racism, it's also kind of forcing a conversation that maybe the child should be the one to bring up and not the school.
Well, I would ask, what class is that?
Yeah, the context matters.
Yeah, I don't know. Ron, do you know what class
I do. It's a middle school in Anchorage, Alaska.
I mean, like, was it an English teacher, history teacher?
Was it a student-led? Sometimes the students are asked to create
and decorate doors.
That's a good point.
But that is not a good point because it's a public school. They're there to learn to read, write, and do arithmetic. This door should not have.
And to express their views.
I disagree.
Yeah, no.
I disagree. That's part of our standards. We have to teach kids how to properly communicate with in writing, in spoken word, in multimedia, and that's how we get good citizens like you who can communicate.
But how to communicate and how to think are two different things.
But that's not what we're talking about.
And that door doesn't tell anybody how to think. It says to say their names. That's what
right. So when my child reads that George Floyd needs to be spoken his name, but he held a gun to a pregnant lady's belly while he robbed her house, he doesn't need to be held up in any form or fashion. And I'll say it, that is not a hero. Why not put a fireman or a policeman or another teacher on that door to hold up in honor?
Because he was murdered by the police.
He was murdered by the police. He was, and they're in jail. They're in jail and hold accountable.
Here's the thing. We don't say that people who are breaking the law should be held up. But here's our Constitution guarantees people a right to a trial. And that man got nothing except a man kneeling on his neck for 9 minutes. And that's a violation of our laws and our Constitution. And we should say his name. We should say all those people's names because that's where we're going. We are heading into a place that is terrifying where police can just kill people, and they are more likely to kill you if you're black or brown. And that's why it matters.
Now, see, I completely agree with
I disagree.
pretty much everything you said, but I will point out that there is a line from, and maybe it's hard even, and I can imagine it would be hard to separate my own personal views and not try to espouse them because maybe somebody disagrees with what happened with George Floyd. I can look at one situation and I agree that George Floyd was murdered by that officer.
Absolutely was.
Let me throw this in. I'm going to throw this in. If you want to know what would I do personally as a teacher?
Yeah.
As a teacher, like I said, it would depend on the context of what my administration was asking from the students, what the project was, because we do door decorations. But I personally would probably, I'm going to say I would stay away from that. I don't mind talking about those issues, but I am conscious that there are different beliefs and feelings about these issues. So we did do for Black History Month, and it was also, we bled over into Women's History Month in March. So my students, they made a picture of a woman with like big hair, and they were celebrating the different types of hair that Black women have. And they had Maya Angelou from Phenomenal Woman. They had like some quotes from poetry. So I do usually try to tie, if they were going to do a door decorating thing, into my curriculum, into the literature, into things like that, so that I would avoid this whole conversation with you guys, right? As a teacher, that's what I do. But I also think that this is the thing with public schools. This is why you have administrations and school boards that are elected by the parents in those communities. Not all communities are one size. And so if the parents in that community are okay with that, and that school board is okay with that, and that administration is okay with that, I just don't really want to encroach upon that.
That's America.
It is. Well, and let me say that there are a lot of boards and a lot of administrators that do not give two shits what the parents want or care or think about.
I just want to say you
cussed. That's because those parents might not be showing up to vote at the school board meetings.
No.
When they do, they get banned.
Well, no, Amanda.
Banned from voting.
No, Amanda. That's another. We're going to talk on that, but parents don't even know when the hell school board meetings are because they're held in April when they're off on vacation for spring break.
Would you all be?
School board meetings are held in Oklahoma every single month. I'm the president of my teachers union. I go to my school board meeting every single month. And you want to know how many parents show up? Zero.
Well, I showed up.
The same day every month.
It's the same day every month. Ours is the second Tuesday. And most in Oklahoma, most meetings are the second Tuesday of every month.
So I showed up every month, and I actually get browbeat by my own party. Well, if you have so many issues with the school board, why don't you just pull your kids out? Because I got banned for being too lobbying, I assume.
Here's what I'm going to tell you. Why don't you run for a school board?
Yeah,
he is, and I'm going to vote for him.
I had announced that the night of the board meeting that ended up with me banning. So maybe that played into it. I don't know, because currently the board members, they just sit there and it's like in one ear and out the other. So, and I'm just point this out. A lot of the complaints that come from the right, the conservatives, deal with the administrators and the things that they don't do. They take money from teachers that a lot of us feel that the teachers can get. So I don't know if you guys feel that to yourselves and take it personally.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Listen, here's the thing. There are some things this is what I teach my students to when they're writing. They got to find that common ground. Mm-hmm. So we have common ground here. There are a lot of teachers who agree on both sides that there are problems with administration. Okay. But the thing is, I'm going to bring up Ryan Walters.
I love him.
He named. Okay. The thing is that he actually on your last show made some really great points about that. And he had some things that I actually could agree with. It's like I teach my students, if you have an opponent, you still always have to find one thing that you can say about them to show you've given them a chance. I can agree with Ryan Walters on how we're spending some of our money in education. Absolutely. The thing is that got lost with all of the woke and the pornography and the classrooms. So that stuff is sexy politics to get people riled up.
Yeah.
So he lost an opportunity there to appear more reasonable to people and find that common ground.
I will say this, the woke shit. Yeah, I talked to him about that, and he cut it out a little bit towards the end. I'm tired of hearing the word woke. I'm tired of hearing liberal extremists. I'm tired of it.
Pornography.
The pornography exists. It does.
Unfortunately. So if you ever get a chance, go to the Liberal Loudmouth, my YouTube channel, and you'll see me creating compilations and making fun of Ryan Walters for all of those things that he was saying, because I got sick of it too. But
what about when he brought the whiteboard in the car? That's when you knew it was like he was all in. He was all in.
I thought it was funny, but you know, it's kind of endearing if you will allow it to be.
Have either of y'all met Ryan Walters?
No.
Would you like to?
Sure.
He is going to be on our teaching certificates as our Secretary of Education.
And
I mean, he is the Secretary of Education. I'll
tell y'all this. I've known Ryan for 3 years. I love him. Y'all know that. I tried to get to know Gina, and I was very respectful, and I asked her some questions, the same ones that I'm asking you, and she blocked me.
She did.
Well, you are kind of scary with your, especially when you don't have the sleeves on your shirt.
I mean, look at this shirt, though. How do you not love this shirt?
Oh, you have merch? You know?
Yeah. He's the real Ron. What are y'all talking about? Does he have merch? Of course he's got merch.
This is America. Come on now.
Oh, yeah. That's good stuff. No, God, what were we even talking about?
She blocked me, and she never answered a Democratic, liberal, registered person that reached out to her several times.
I don't know if y'all are aware.
I'm not Gina. I didn't.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I can't speak for her. You know, I know it's her first rodeo with politics, right? I believe so.
Yeah.
And I will say, as a teacher who ran for the state house in 2018, it's a huge learning curve. There's a lot that goes into it. And you know, people are always saying we want people who aren't politicians in politics, but it's really hard for those people when they go out there. So she was running a statewide campaign. I ran for a House district. I can't even imagine. It was hard for me to keep up with the questions coming in.
What House district did you run for?
Huh?
What House district did you run for?
At the time, before redistricting, it was House District 91, Chris Kennedy.
Oh, you kind of look like Gina Walters. Gina Nelson too.
Oh man, that's going to be the next story on the
it's going to be.
Reese, did you hear that? I know you're watching, buddy.
Yeah. Ladies, we love to bring parents and teachers and everybody into our conversation. So pull up some comments, Tim. Let's get everybody involved in this.
Oh no, we have not been watching the comments.
Yeah. So we got Riley here. Explain what equity is. So what I know you know what everybody else is defining it as.
I don't have a lot of equity in my brand new house. I'll say that.
Because of Biden.
Okay, well then, Ron, you can take this one.
Absolutely no.
COVID.
Listen. It's COVID, and I'm not a. I'm not a Biden babe. I never was. Although I will tell you that when I lived in New Jersey and I went to Washington a lot because it was just a train ride, I met Joe Biden quite a few times.
Let me tell you this. I've had a medal hung around my neck by Joe Biden.
Really?
Wow. Are you a veteran?
No, I was a badass paramedic that saved a bunch of people's lives in 2010. So
awesome. Thank you. My husband's in healthcare, so great. Thank you.
Where's that picture, Ron? Do you have it in here?
I'm not going to do
that. Yeah, let's see the picture of you and Joe.
You know what? I'm going to find it on your Facebook page. No, you really don't want me to?
No, I don't. No.
Okay. All right. So I've seen it. Yeah. So as it relates to education, I don't, this isn't my shtick. So Ron, if you want to explain that one.
The equity?
Yeah.
What is the context here for that question?
Pull up his last comment.
Who's that?
Riley. Do y'all know Riley Flack? I know y'all know Riley Flack, right?
No.
Equity is dripping off every class, every policy, and every inch of public schools. It's communism. This is what Riley says.
That's no.
Yeah, that's pretty broad. I mean,
that's very broad. That's extremely broad. Equity is this. Here's the thing, and I have this on my desk.
Do y'all know Arlette?
Arlette, who?
Pull that last comment from Arlette up on.
What's that? Yes, queens, love y'all.
Yeah,
we were her.
We were her teacher.
We were her teacher.
Oh, nice. That's awesome.
I love it. Awesome. I love it.
That is awesome.
Okay, so back to equity.
About being a teacher is this: some kids show up to school to learn. Some kids show up to be loved. Some kids don't eat in their houses. Mm-hmm. Some kids don't have water in their houses.
Some kids get kicked out of their houses.
Some kids get kicked out of their houses and couch surf through high school. And equity is you meet those kids where they are and you give them what they need.
Okay,
it doesn't always look the same, but you do what you can for those kids to benefit those kids in any way that you can. It is what it is.
Here's why Tim asked me to speak to this, because that to me is communism and socialism, because that is not the intended purpose of public schools. Public schools was there to educate our children.
There are some parents out there that are sometimes struggling. It's not their fault.
That's not public schools' fault.
Well, what are we going to do? What are you going to do? Not
send them home?
Send them home, not give them a snack out of your own cabinet because their parents not doing what they need to do or can't do what they need to do?
As horrible as that sounds, that is not the intended purpose of public schools. That is a social welfare issue. That is a completely separate issue. That is not the reason for public schools.
Equally a failing system. And that's why all of it needs to be revamped and fixed. We need to concentrate our efforts and our money and our resources on people, not corporations. We need to focus on people. And I have students in my classroom who eat when they're at school, and I can't teach kids who are hungry.
Yeah.
You can't, if you're sitting there and you're starving because the last thing you ate was lunch yesterday or lunch Friday, I can't teach you about verbs because you're hungry. And that's a reality.
Whether or not that's ideal or not, that's the reality that teachers face in the classroom.
So I would actually like to speak to this. And before I do, I want to put this comment up from Dana. She said, I want to thank these ladies for coming on the show. So many people are afraid to have opinions or share them. I love hearing from everyone. Yeah. So Dana, thank you for that comment. I really appreciate it. I was extremely, extremely poor growing up. We were homeless. I lived in a tent on the river for a year of my life.
Tim, you don't have to tell this if you don't want
to. So that people who aren't understanding what these ladies are talking about, they have to deal with this stuff every day, because when I was going through that, it was really, really hard for me. And my parents were also going through it. They had their own struggles, of course, at the time I didn't really think about it because I was dealing with my own stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't have a single teacher ever, not once, reach out and ask me what my problem was. It was punish, in school suspension. I ended up in school suspension for all but like 3 weeks of a school year.
I hate suspension.
So I understand what they are saying, but I think where I would draw a line here, even with the experiences I grew up with, is that not every situation needs this equity enforcement, this DEI type stuff where you are trying to provide stuff. So if a child doesn't
clarify DEI for us,
the diversity, equity, and inclusion stuff, that's part of the conversation. It's, we're kind of going down a rabbit hole, but it's the same concept. So I understand why there is a need for it, because we live in a society that doesn't care about people. Yeah. They are so poor. You've got people working 40 hours a week, can't pay their bills, can't feed their kids. They, you know what I mean? So it's getting real bad. And the root problem is, I think
in Oklahoma, 1 in 4 kids lives in poverty.
Yeah,
and they are entitled to an education.
That is a constitution.
That's a constitution.
Yeah.
And they're entitled to it. But if they show up hungry with no shoes, we had a kid who has since graduated years ago who had no water. And when you could smell him coming. And we got together and we bought clothes and we kept them in classrooms, and then we would take his clothes home and take turns washing them and returning them. Because
that is not your job. That is not your job.
But you know what? My job is to educate him, and that kid can't be educated if he doesn't want to sit in the classroom because no one wants to sit near him.
That is CPS's job.
What's your solution?
Well, how do you resolve that?
Are you mad that teachers are doing that?
No, I'm not mad at that at all. I'm saying that is not what we hired teachers to do. We hired teachers to educate.
Absolutely. It's not my job to take girls to the mall to buy a bra because their parents can't afford it.
Or to keep tampons and maxi pads and things like that because they don't come to school with it.
But you know what? I have to commend you for that because we are a community.
If you talk to a teacher, every teacher's got a drawer full of something for kids. But I want to know, Ron, how do you solve that problem? What do you do? What do you tell that kid? If a kid was falling asleep in your class, and then I say, like, you have to wake up, Ron, and he says, Miss, I'm sorry, I was up half the night because I live in a hotel with my mom, and my mom got home from work at 3 o'clock in the morning, and I'm so tired. And I say, I'll tell you what, you come to my class for English when you have band, and why don't you just go over there on the pillows and go to sleep?
Well, do you want my answer?
Yes.
My answer is you take public school out of that. And if that problem happens and you have a kid falling asleep in your class because he has a bad home life, or like Tim lived on the river for a year, then the government, as much as I hate to say it, they need to develop some other system to take care of those kids. But you can't involve public school funds in that.
The problem is that everything falls on the public schools. If you go back to when public schools started, it was just to teach kids, and that's it.
Which is what we would like.
Kids went home for lunch. I went home for lunch in some years that I was in school. But then they had lunch coming to school. Then it's free lunch. And then now we have to teach social emotional learning. Do you know why?
Because they're not getting that.
Because they're not getting it. And if they don't have insurance, they can't go to a psychologist, So
that is not the intention of public schools.
If we don't teach about how to have empathy for their classmates so that they're not hitting each other and stuff, we can't teach. That's
not your job. Your job is to teach reading, writing, and arithmetic.
But if I can't teach, if I don't do those things first.
Yes, because it's not happening before they get to our classroom. And so because here's the thing, you guys also, not you guys, but I'm saying society wants to hold teachers responsible for the test scores and stuff.
Pull up Haley Lord's number. I'm listening. Go ahead.
Sorry. You guys want to hold us responsible for the test scores, and we're trying to get those things up, but we have to address these underlying issues. Like if
we don't.
Well, I want to point something out that Ryan
not in
Walters
public schools.
said.
We don't. Not in public schools. That's not the purpose of public schools.
I'm not saying it's the purpose, but it's what it's become.
It's what it's become. Public schools are the catch-all. Anything that is failing a child, the public schools have to pick it up.
So I want to point something out that Ryan Walters had said, and because I asked him a very pointed question. I said most parents take care of their children, but there is a segment of the population that does not. And unfortunately, the schools end up having to pick that up. So what is the balance so that you're not pushing these things on children that don't need it? And he said, we need to make it where the teachers don't have to worry about as much many things.
I would love that.
Because you're overworked already. You have too many hats that you're wearing. So you can't actually focus on building those relationships with the kids and doing the things that are necessary and perhaps saving a child and saying, you know what, things suck right now, but they get better. And I think Ryan was spot on when he said those things. So
what's Ryan's plan though? How is he going to get those?
That's the problem. Everybody has a great. I can talk a good game, but tell me how you're going to do it.
Well, take some of the money out of the administration and use some of the money from the administration to lower the class sizes so that the teachers have fewer students. They can focus more on just fewer students. And I don't remember all of what he said. I'm not his campaign manager. I just remember him talking about this in a church.
I'm not his campaign manager either, but I'm.
Are you sure, Ron?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. But we have bloated administrations.
We absolutely do.
Yeah.
And I even brought up the fact
Ron,
that
I'm going to interrupt you because I'm the teacher.
interrupt because
I'm sorry.
this is about you.
I watched your show with Ryan Walters, and I 100% agreed. I think it was you. I'm going to give you credit anyway. Who had the idea of capping the administration?
Yes.
Yes.
Amen. We agree with that. So go ahead. I'm sorry. You may continue.
The people who work in schools who are teachers and
you just got loudmouth, bro.
I know. I may continue. I may. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, Mr. Ron.
Go ahead.
No,
Ron.
I love it. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
You may continue.
Do you have something else to add, Ron, to the conversation?
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. I wanted to cap administrators' pay.
Yes.
They should not be making 3, 4, 5 times what y'all make in the classroom. That's bullshit. That's bullshit.
It is. So, well, I tell you what else do you guys need? What in your opinion, like if we could take money from the administrators tomorrow and give it to you, what would be like the first thing that you really just needed?
Teacher aid, what? Another person?
Anything.
Okay, teachers need more plan time. Okay, so like 50% of our job is the planning and the grading, communicating with parents, but we get less than 15% of our day or something for that. So if we could reduce some costs and we could put some money and hire some more teachers so we could spread out the classes. Teachers, it would be nice to have more planning time, more plan time so we could accomplish those things.
Because the things that happen during plan is lesson planning, and which everybody says, well, it's plan time, so you lesson plan. Lesson planning, grading, communicating with parents,
answering all
and students too will come in there and talk to you, I imagine.
A student who's been out.
If we have kids that are suspended, then you have to put things up on the Google Classroom. So you have to, upload documents, download things that they send in.
So basically
make photocopies.
Paying us for the work that we do at home, whether that's building in more plan time or either extending contract hours and increasing our salaries.
Yeah.
But instead of you having to do it at home, you'd rather do it in the hours that you're at school. I think that's fair.
See, I don't
think
do
that's
that
fair.
anymore. I took that during COVID as the president, I did a survey.
President of what? What do you mean, president of what?
Teachers Union, the president of my teachers
Oh
union.
my God, Tim.
Bring up unions. Here we go.
Dun dun dun.
You're the president of the OEA chapter?
No. my local union where I work. Every district has a local.
I was fixing to get really.
He was going to go off the rails, and we were already off the rails.
Yeah.
We don't even know what that looks like yet.
You don't know where we're going or where.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm a strong union strong. That's
oh
me.
my gosh.
I was the vice president of our local before I switched school districts.
But anyway,
okay, go ahead. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
The teachers that came during COVID and said that they were afraid to go back to work, and it was met with tough. So I decided that day that I am going to work the hours that I am paid to work. And if it cannot be happening during my contract hours, then it's just not going to get done.
Pull Dana's comment up because this speaks to what she's saying right now.
Okay. Teachers need to start standing up for themselves and say no. It won't be fixed until teachers push back on all the non-teaching work they're not to administer. Dana, I can't agree with you more because we actually saw that with
the problem is that unions do support it. I tell this to my members all the time: go home. I call teachers if I see their cars when I'm leaving. Go home. You are not being paid. You are on your own time right now. Go home. If it can't be done during school, it's not getting done.
And
do we want to meet and talk about this? I work until 3:35 and then I leave and that's it. And I'm sorry. And then when we get told that there's a meeting at 7:45, I'm the one that says our contract hours is 7:50. We don't work at 7:45. And I come to work at 7:50. And if I come to work at 7:45, I will sit in my classroom. And the meeting is at 7:50 because that's when I work.
You're such an asshole, Nadine. I mean,
hey, you know what? I would be the same way. I
am the same way.
But here's the thing.
If you tell me that my life is of zero value to you,
right?
Then you will get only what you pay me for. That's what you pay me for.
I gotta respect that, man. I gotta respect that.
Yeah, I give you.
Did it though?
Right.
Public school would have
collapse.
it would collapse.
Right. Well, gosh, we've got to fix that. So that you don't feel like you're, being forced to do it outside of school hours. I mean, everything that you need to do should be able to be done in that time. So more teachers essentially is what you're saying.
More teachers,
to spread out your classes.
For the kids, because the kids in Oklahoma need more counselors so that I don't have to do what I do. So I don't have to say, come here and tell me what's wrong. What's going on? Why are you crying? Why can't you? Can I go out in the hall because I'm crying? And then what's going on? And it's like, we got kicked out of our house today. Oh, okay. But you came to school because if school is the safe place.
Right.
If they got kicked out of their house, you should probably tell them to vote Republican.
Would no, that wouldn't be allowed in school.
People who to vote for.
Yeah. We don't want to indoctrinate them, Ron.
That's what I was leading into. Let's switch gears and go into the indoctrination because here's where
we don't. At least we don't.
I have a problem with, like, Ryan came out with the patriotic. What was it?
Oh, the patriotic teacher re-education camps or whatever.
Right.
Re-education camps.
That's complete horseshit. It's complete horseshit. It is.
Nazis had those too, and so does North Korea.
Right.
Here we go.
I am against any type of indoctrination, whether it be religious, BLM, anything. The only thing that I support in public schools is reading, writing, basics. You can't put church and God in schools without putting Satan and Buddha and everybody else in there. And that's not the purpose of it.
Yeah.
And that's not the reason we hired teachers. We hired teachers to teach the kids basics.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that puts you all off track anyway, because then now you got to worry about all this other stuff.
There's not enough time for us to be indoctrinating kids. We're trying to get through Hamlet right now. We're doing context clues and morphemes and root word. We're doing all this stuff.
We're doing root words,
and that's I think the thing that we with the campaign of Mr. Walters is that what was hard is going to work all day and teaching the standards. I mean, we're doing semicolons. I mean, we're connotation, denotation. I'm teaching the standards all day long to these kids. If you ask them who I vote for or what I think about abortion, they can't tell you.
They'll say
good on you.
I'm doing that all day, and then I'm coming home and I'm getting on Facebook because I admit it, I was on Mr. Ryan's Facebook all the time. Me too.
We tag teamed each other pretty good.
Well, I was on Gina's until she blocked me, but yeah, go ahead.
We're doing all this stuff about pornography and CRT and indoctrination and wokeness. And it's like, do you understand that I'm trying to teach them to use a tab button on this computer here to indent a paragraph? I'm trying to teach them to capitalize their eyes in 10th grade.
So what do y'all teach? Let me ask you this. What do you teach?
We both teach English. 10th grade,
6th grade.
Do you think pictures of penises and vaginas and shit like that should be in school? Because it is. No. Tim got banned for speaking out against that in Owasso, Oklahoma.
I got to say this. First of all, we were both against the genderqueer book, as was Joy Hoffmeister.
Yeah,
she came out against that we felt that was too far because it was a graphic novel.
Yeah.
And somehow that got in the school. I completely now, would I let my 11th grade daughter? Yes, because we have those conversations at home and she's mature and we can handle that in my household. And that's my choice as a parent.
Yeah.
The public school library, no. Blankets. I'm glad blankets. Let's bring up blankets.
That's what got Tim banned.
I know. I studied that book in college in a graphic novel course, a 4,000 level college course. And I had that book. So when I was starting I used to teach at OU. I taught writing there for a bit before I went into public school teaching. So when I was
making sense now. Go ahead.
Yeah, when I was making, I know, because I was indoctrinating them there, but don't tell me. No, so I was making my class library and I was looking at some of my graphic novels because I have some Batman and stuff like that. And blankets came up and I remembered it being a pretty mild book. And then I went and flipped through it and I was like, okay, I see the boobies here. No, that's not going on the classroom bookshelf. And that stayed out of my classroom. That's, to me, not appropriate. Now, I have seen that in public school libraries.
Yes, that's in public school libraries.
And so what I would say is if a parent like Tim sees that and is upset, then yeah, go to your school board. I think that's what you did, right? You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, well, I mean, unfortunately, the book was there for 18 years. And so the policy the thing I took issue with the policy was that they want it to come out after somebody's already been exposed to it. So they'll put these books that shouldn't be in there in the first place. I think most people are going to look at that.
Well, you got overworked librarians too. Let me say.
Oh, bullshit.
Oh, yeah.
Here we go. You can tell them, Ron.
Let's take some of that administration pay, give the librarians some more help so they can review some.
I've got a dozen parents that'll show up right now and go through that library and help that librarian out right now.
They wouldn't let me in the library.
Right.
And I have been trying to.
I'm gonna anyway.
Go ahead, Nadine.
No,
go ahead.
Interject.
If your kid has a phone.
No, you can't do that.
This is what Britt was talking about.
No,
right.
If your kid has a phone, they can get any book they want. And that's factual.
And that's my decision as a parent.
Yes. So for anybody, does your daughter have a phone?
No.
She does, but my internet is filtered on both the phone and my home.
But the public school library is not filtered.
And the school internet is also filtered. That's
Yeah,
I pay money.
I'm going to tell you what, I can turn off the internet at school and use my data package. And I can tell you that middle school kids are downloading porn. So I understand what you're saying, but it almost starts to feel like closing the barn door when not everything's gone and the barn's on fire. But close the door, please. Because these kids have phones and access to anything that is in the world for them to consume.
I mean, they can find drugs. They can probably get drugs from kids at school. Should we just not concern ourselves with getting the drugs out of the school, or should we just? Well, if we go after it later, that's just closing the barn door after the horses are out.
We're not saying put Playboy in the library. No, okay, we're not saying that.
Just blankets. Just blankets.
Well,
no. Listen. I chose to keep that out of my school, my classroom library. If I were a librarian, I would probably consult with my administration and see what the policy is. I don't have a degree in library science.
Let me ask you this. Do you think it would be okay, and I even suggested this to the assistant superintendent, to have a section of books that are questionable and that the child has to ask permission from their parent before they check it out?
I would say that if you had a section that was questionable, like behind the count, like where you have to buy Sudafed.
Oh, that's going to make a really
the adult section.
Put them all back there.
Yeah, because once you say a book is banned, then everybody wants to read it. So back behind the library and just have a permission slip.
Yeah.
Right. Yes.
I think that's acceptable.
Yeah,
these things are made on district levels, so it comes down to what each district decides to do.
Well, to that point, they aren't doing it at a district level; they're doing it at a national level, and the American Libraries Association is the one rolling that out.
I'm not an expert on the library.
That's what they're going based off of, and the American Libraries Association does not want to censor anything. I mean, we're talking anything.
I don't want to.
I don't either, but there's things that if my daughter can't hold her boyfriend's hand because it's inappropriate at school, I definitely don't want her looking at that kind of stuff. We do not
need pictures of people wearing dildos in a public school library.
Right.
I will meet you there.
Yeah. Thank you.
Here's my thing. In the 90s, NWA, I listened to NWA, explicit lyrics on the front of the album.
Yes.
My parents were like, "No, you can't buy that." I went and bought it. I found a way to buy it. But I couldn't go to my public school library that was taxpayer funded and check out NWA, Straight Outta Compton, Fuck the Police, and listen to it. I don't think it has a place in public schools. Public library, yes.
Here's
same tax money.
Here's the thing where
it is.
Here's the thing where we get into a problem is that there is a gray area and everybody has a different line and it becomes subjective. And then we have to decide who gets to make these decisions. I'm telling you, I agree. These graphic visual images of nudity and things like that should not be there. I agree with that. I don't know about Miss Gallagher. I agree with that. But like we get into literature, like The Handmaid's Tale, or Toni Morrison's The Bluest Eye, which deals with a little girl that's raped by her father. It does have a graphic scene in it, but it is really wonderful literature at the same time. And some of our kids are going through these things. And so, like, where do we draw the line?
Well, that was where I drew the line. I said very specifically graphic images of sexual activity. Period. I even specifically said, I don't care about workbooks. Somebody's imagination is their own. They draw from their own experiences. So whatever they come up with when they're reading, that's between themselves and their brain. But when you are presented the images, it flips that and it turns into something else because you're being told what to see, not allowing your brain to make it up as it goes. So I was very explicit when I asked for the prohibitions, just the graphic images. And they couldn't even do that.
I can agree with that in a public school setting. Absolutely.
So here's the thing. Let's talk about the teacher in Norman. Okay. I don't remember her name.
Summer Blaumier.
Summer.
Okay.
No, I remember that teacher.
Because here's the thing, that this is where it gets scary for teachers right now. I have given students applications for the public library locally. I have had to give them access to websites that have ebooks because I don't have the physical copies, or maybe they're out sick or on suspension. So when I know what she posted, everyone's like, oh, it was the banned book thing. It was the Brooklyn Public Library. Okay, they have a banned book page because they are trying to get young readers interested in books. A lot of the books that they highlight are things like even Pride and Prejudice and To Kill a Mockingbird. They're not all crazy stuff. She offered the QR code to the Brooklyn Public School Library, where kids could go. They would have to get a library card. You had to be 13. Okay, they had to get a library card, and then that page just happened to be featuring the next month after the teacher had posted the QR code, happened to be featuring and having a discussion about that genderqueer book, the one with the graphic images. Okay, but it was still just an access code to a public library. So we don't want to get in trouble because the kids could go. If I give them a card or an application to get a card at the Oklahoma Metropolitan Library, and they have Twilight or 50 Shades of Grey, and that student goes there and checks out a book or gets an ebook, am I going to get fired? Is Mr. Walters going to pull my teaching certificate? That's where we're at.
Yeah, I disagreed with how they came out after her, because I've made the same argument you're making now. It was access to a public library, and that is ridiculous to go after somebody for. So you'll get an agreement from me, but I'm pretty sure that Ron, what do you think?
Yeah.
What's Summer doing today?
She's working
for the
Brooklyn Public Library. Yeah.
Is she living in her house here? Probably not, because Mr. Walters.
People threatened to kill her.
Yeah, they did.
So,
I mean,
yeah.
Way to go.
That was a setup. That was complete.
My husband was afraid.
Okay,
my husband was afraid for me to appear on this. He said, are you sure our family's going to be safe if you say something that upsets people? Will they go out and try to find where you're a teacher and get you fired? This is the environment that teachers are living in.
And it's true. That is I've had people warn me and say, you don't want those people are crazy.
You know how many rainbow bricks I've had on my front porch, tire slash, broken windshield, shit like that.
And that either way, either side, it's not acceptable.
Yeah.
Because you know what? Well, I am a firm believer that I get to live my only one life, and you get to live your one life. And as long as you don't come to my house and try to punch me in the face, then go live your life.
And that's what I'm saying.
You are an insane person, but you're allowed to be insane.
And as long as you're not hurting me.
Just go come to my house and try to get it on me, because I don't want it.
And I'm saying Summer knew what she was doing. She wanted the attention, and she wanted to make money, and that's what she's doing today. She's going to speak, and she's doing speeches, and she's working for Brooklyn. She got what she wanted. It was a publicity stunt. It was bullshit.
I disagree with you there. I don't think if I put a QR code in my classroom that's going to lead me to fame and fortune. I think she maybe made the best out of a bad situation.
No,
so Joe makes a pretty good point. Maybe we can kind of switch into this here. Teacher Norman specifically stated that she was a walking HB 1775 violation, and given the opportunity would do it again. The QR code wasn't the issue. It's the fact that she openly stated that she would violate state law while performing her job. I mean, I think that's a fair point.
I think that came out after the fact. The fact is that what her problem was is she posted that on her board. And I'm not going to lie, I came to school when I saw that because I thought, how wonderful to give kids access to one of the largest public library networks in the country.
I think she did it on purpose, and if she wanted to be a teacher in Oklahoma and teach basics, she would still be doing it.
I put that on my bulletin board in my classroom, and when this all happened, I took it down.
Yeah.
Do y'all know about Tyler Wren?
Not because I didn't think that kids should have access to libraries, but because I was afraid of losing my job. That's
do you know about?
And that's wrong. That's wrong.
Let me ask you this: do y'all know about Tyler Wren?
I know.
Wait, that sounds like a Star Wars character.
It does. It does. But Tyler Wren was a teacher that I initially blasted out here in Owasso, an 8th grade teacher. And then Tim and I, 6 months later, reported him because he said, "Fuck your parents. I'm your parents now."
Oh,
well, he also
the context of that, because I think I saw that TikTok, was about parents of LGBTQ students who don't accept them.
Right.
Oh, okay.
And on his personal TikTok, didn't he say something like F them, I'll be your parent?
He was actually in his classroom though.
He was.
Okay.
And he also, so it wasn't just that. So I sent an email to the school, and this is what I think started this process of him being asked to resign. He pretended to stab his students in the chest with a knife when they misspelled stuff. Sure, it was in jest, I'm sure, but come on, he's in his classroom. He made fun of Native Americans. He was mocking them. He also promoted violence against white people, calling them Nazis. There were a lot of videos that he had made that were against white people, essentially. And I'm of the opinion, it's like, I don't want people being a racist. Yeah, because see, they didn't ever show those videos when it came out in the news, because that's not as provocative, right? It's not so, you know what I mean? It doesn't play into the whole pornography narrative and all that stuff, and the trans issues, that sort of thing. But
was he the guy that was an anarchist? Is that the same?
Yes,
yeah,
he also, one of his first videos, in fact, he was laughing about, he had this anarchy shirt on and he had anarchy symbols in his classroom, and he was giggling because he did it at parent-teacher conferences. They wouldn't even know what it means.
Yeah.
I mean,
no, that's not appropriate. That's not appropriate.
Well, my question to you is,
in his classroom. If it's happening in his classroom, not appropriate. We are private citizens. If he's making TikToks or things on his own outside, I'm not going to, he shouldn't get fired.
Can you pull up Dana Walsh's comment?
Did I miss it? I've been trying to keep track here. I'd like to know their feelings on teacher misconduct and allowing them to resign instead of being fired and losing their certification.
No, I don't agree with that. It depends. Okay, listen.
Depends.
It depends. Everything, these are always complex things, right?
Yeah.
If they have violated a law,
yeah.
Okay, especially if it was a harm to children,
yeah,
like soliciting sex from a student. Let's just go there. Okay. No, you shouldn't let them resign because they've committed a crime, and then they can go somewhere else and do it. So no, absolutely not. And here's the thing: the unions will not. I know you guys are going to disagree with me. They're not going to get behind teachers who, even if you're a member, if you break a law like that, they're not going to get behind you. No.
Well, Tyler Wren is teaching right now today at TPS, Tulsa Public Schools.
Yeah, because there was no mark on his record. And
so okay, but here's it. And this is where it gets in that gray area, and I don't know his case very well. But what law?
It was multiple board policies. Did he break a law? I don't know.
He did.
I don't know if he broke a law specifically. It might have been HB 1775. I don't know. Because
if you violate board policy and it's not state law, then I can understand that, because they could go work somewhere else. But I don't know. He's kind of.
Whenever I am at a job, and not a union job or whatever, and I break a policy and I do it multiple times, I get fired. So, you know what I mean? Why is there a double standard, do you think, with teachers versus, just everybody else?
Ooh, I know the answer. It's because of unions.
Well, I mean, the unions are there for, I'm okay with unions.
Teachers.
Yes, I'm okay with unionizing.
Are they though? Are they really there to help teachers? Are they?
Yes. I'm sorry.
You're buying all the bullshit.
Hang on a second, because I've had multiple teachers come to me and say, the unions won't let me do this. They won't support me because I'm a conservative Christian teacher.
Bullshit.
Okay.
Really? They supported Amy Cook over here in Owasso? Kristen Vivar?
Wait. Amy Cook, was she on your show?
Yeah.
Was she the one that had the prayer wall?
Right.
The prayer closet.
Yeah, that's against the law.
That's against the law.
Is it? Because Tyler Wren is teaching at Tulsa Public School, and he broke the law.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what law Tyler broke. It's possible
they have Muslim prayer groups, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, all over.
Yeah, but those are not in a classroom.
Student led,
and those are student led organizations.
So do you know?
Whoa! Student led organizations have to be sponsored by a teacher.
But the sponsor, in theory, let me say this, in theory, they don't always do this. The sponsor is supposed to abstain from things. They have
bullshit. Come on, y'all know better than this.
I know what happens. I worked with a teacher who gave out Bibles. Okay. I was not okay with that. Okay?
Yeah.
I was not okay with that. And we have lots of teachers who get out there and lead prayers, and the football coaches who do all of the things that they're not supposed to do. But we don't see the majority of Oklahomans trying to come after those teachers and their certificates.
Yeah.
Yeah, Dana makes a good point here. There's a code of conduct for teachers, even on their personal accounts. That was also something that he had violated as well.
They wouldn't hire me to drive a bus in Owasso because I said if a boy walks in the bathroom of my daughter and she's changing her tampon, she could kick shit out of him. They wouldn't hire me. They had hired me, but the HR Lisa Johnson said, "You lack judgment, so we're not going to let you drive a bus." Bullshit.
Yeah, the email they sent about Ron it went overboard. You know
what? No, we're not going to defend all these decisions that different schools make.
Sure.
There are problems. There are definitely problems.
Yeah. Well, I think, at the end of the day,
I'm sorry, I'm not getting aggressive. I'm just like, I love this shit. I love talking about it.
You wanted to drive the school bus. You really wanted to drive the school bus.
I did. I wanted to drive the school, but I didn't want to go as a substitute. I'm not. It was during COVID. I was like, if you need help, I can come help.
Yeah. Yeah. So, in that case, when you need help and somebody's asking and then they bring up, I don't know, stuff like that. But I actually understood their reasoning, but I don't know.
And I did too. You don't want me around kids because I'm going to be like, vote Ryan Walters, vote Donald Trump, vote Ronald Reagan.
Hey, you know what?
Don't know.
There are teachers who do that. Yeah. But the thing is, here's the thing. I'm going to tell you, to be honest, obviously I'm not a Trump supporter. I'm not.
Are you really not? I'm surprised.
I know. But I will say this. It personally doesn't offend me because I have worked with teachers and kids will ask you, who are you voting for? Especially when I used to teach seniors, and a lot of them are registering to vote and they're asking people. And there are a lot of teachers who will say who they're voting for and what they believe. And at first, when I was new, I was afraid of getting in trouble for that until all the kids knew, this teacher over here, they're a Trump supporter. And I'm like, how do you know that? Well, they tell us those things. And so, I decided at that time, if a kid asks me, as long as I always preface everything with, I will answer your question, but that doesn't mean that's what you have to do. You know what I mean? And because they are curious and we want them to be civically engaged. But I mean, I'm not going to go in there and like badmouth, and sorry, I've got a gnat in here.
No, you're smoking. You're smoking. You're waving the smoke off. Here's the thing. Y'all have got a bunch of people in here that are killing me.
Oh, that's funny.
Bring up Kibbers real quick.
Kibbers, where you at?
Kibbers.
Yeah, I don't know who Kibbers is, but
nobody does that, Ron.
I don't.
Oh, that's my daughter.
Oh, that's
she's
funny.
in high school, so be nice to her.
That's funny.
Michael Myers.
Right.
Hi, Kibbers.
Here's James
That's
Thorpe.
not her name, by the way. We don't have a litter box in our house. Her name's not
that is just bullshit.
Oh my goodness, that is funny. Now, okay, Lisa said this. I agree teachers need to limit their hours outside of school. But there are many professions where employees have to work outside of regular hours. It is what it is. Sometimes it can't be avoided. To say you're refusing to work extra hours because you had to return to the classroom when you feared COVID and that made you feel like your life wasn't valued. There are tons of professions, jobs who didn't have a choice either. I mean, that's a pretty good point.
My husband's a nurse. My husband's a nurse. He's on salary, but I tell you, he didn't bring his work home with him. And I will say this, despite what Miss Gallagher said here, she worked outside of her class.
I know she did. I know she did.
She would be up there on that Saturday sometimes saying, I'm not supposed to be here, but I am because I got to do this.
Because and here's why. As good as I am, I'm not that good. I can't get it done in 45 minutes 4 times a week.
Oh, come on.
But
Nadine.
I can get it almost done.
So the thing is, you got to be real. You have
to be very specific about what I'm going to do. And then I can't deviate. There's no room for like, well, maybe we could, because there's no, maybe we could, because I'm not going to give people 8, 10, 20 hours of my time that they don't compensate me.
I get that.
Yeah. I do get it.
I got 2 more questions, Tim, and then I'll let y'all have it. But first question is, are y'all for or against a year-round school instead of taking summers off, the archaic, we need kids in the field to help harvest the wheat and shit?
Well, let's talk about how much you're going to pay us to keep working on the summer.
No. Okay, hang on, because I want to do that. Hang on. And the second thing is, I need both of y'all to tell me your favorite song, because my favorite song is "Here I Go Again on My Own" by Whitesnake. So
that's a good song.
That is a good song.
First question: year-round school. I think that Horace Mann developed our public education system back in the 1800s, and they did it to where the kids could go harvest the fields in the summertime. So it's a win-win for me. I'm like, pay your teachers to work year-round, take 2 weeks off every other 9 weeks or whatever, and just teach kids all year. There's no reason. We all work for a living every single day.
Yeah, because imagine how much more you could get done with the same number of teachers if what you're teaching is spread out over the year instead of, you'd have an extra 2 months. What do you think of that?
I have friends of mine who taught at a school, and they taught for 8 weeks, 2 weeks off, 8 weeks, 2 weeks off, 8 weeks, 2 weeks off, and it was year round, and it worked out well for her family and whatnot, but they didn't see any market improvement in
the proficiency.
Yeah,
I think I'd have to do more research. To be honest, I have to do more. I'd have to research and see. I know kids like those summers too, so they do get burnt out. But I like the idea, like if you went for a certain amount of time and you took some time off to give the kids a break, maybe between.
I think if we shortened the day, because it's a long
day.
It is.
Right. For our high school kids who are working.
Yeah. Yeah.
And even especially little kids. It's
but then
hard for little
kids.
The
parents with the little kids are
and that's the thing that came up during COVID, and that's where I got a lot of black eyes from a lot of people. And let's just call it what it is. Public school is free daycare, and public school has to be open so you can go to work. And
it's not free daycare. We pay taxes, Nadine.
Not everybody pays taxes. Some people pay rent, and their landlord pays taxes.
Whatever.
But you know what? If you want to pay me $10, $15 an hour per kid, like you would pay a babysitter, bring it. I'm all about that.
I'm all about that too.
There you go.
But if you look at like little kids, like second graders, first graders, to be in school 6-7 hours a day is way too much.
It's too much.
Yeah,
but so if we could spread it out and shorten the day and spread it out, I think that would benefit kids for sure.
I actually agree with that.
That block schedule thing where they're focusing on fewer classes, like so many weeks, like for like 3 classes instead of 6 or 8. At your district, that's one reason I like.
Oh, I have to tell you what.
Okay. But it's like,
tell us. Why can't you tell? What?
We're going to be breaking English into reading and writing next year.
Actually, that's great. We need that. The English teachers have to accomplish too much. Reading and writing as separate subjects is awesome. But like, if they could focus on fewer classes at a time, and then have like those breaks, and then they come in and do.
Absolutely.
I'm all about being innovative. I think I'm not opposed to that.
And the thing about it is that the kids that are summertime is scary for kids that don't eat except at school.
Right. Or have bad home lives. And
that-
I know that's not the public
I know that's
school's
not
job,
the point, but sometimes,
Damn right.
sometimes the safe place is school. And when school's
I know.
closed, and we're closed for
a
3 months.
A long time.
Like when I was in New Jersey, we do not have these 3-month-long breaks. Like we are a solid 10-month contract. And
you know what? We should be closed during the hottest part of the summer.
Yeah,
We talk about electric bills and saving taxpayer money. Why are we opening up in the middle of August?
That's funny. That is funny.
You sound
know
like a conservative.
Speaking of temperatures, before we get to Ron's second question, which was the song, it has irritated me that they have moved to and removed snow days. And now they're doing virtual.
And now they're just virtual.
Oh my
And
God.
we have to teach from home, and then like a lot of our kids have electricity or Wi-Fi. Here's the thing: you want to start making the kids do the stuff from home. We need to be having
And then holding them
free broadband internet for everybody.
And then holding the child accountable for not showing up to school. It's like, you're going to be late. Because I brought this up because I just got an email from them saying, if there's any inclement weather, you're going to be at school. And I'm like, what? Just let them have a snow day.
This is what Tim and I both agree on.
Yeah.
If you call a snow day, we're having a fucking snow day.
Right. Yeah. Go out there, build a snowman, be a kid.
About snow days in Oklahoma. Don't get me started.
Oh, right. Yeah. That's funny. All right. So Ron's
we have
question.
Snow days and no snowfalls. And I think I have a thing now every snow day that I go in my garage, I open the garage door and I say 8:30 snow day. And then I come back 10:30 snow day, still no snow. And all of my friends on the East Coast like, what is wrong with these people? They're afraid of weather.
Yeah, that's funny.
Okay,
I put my daughter on buses that had chains.
Nadine, you're talking too damn much. Listen.
What my favorite
song, Nadine?
My favorite song is "The Wind" by Cat Stevens.
Okay, all right.
Oh, that's a good song.
Okay.
That's a good song.
Well, I know Ryan Walters.
His favorite song?
Well, he would think our favorite song would be "Hot for Teacher" because we're grooming all the children. I know. Bad joke. Bad joke. No, but my favorite song is "In My Life" by the Beatles. I'm a big Beatles fan.
Oh,
nice.
Oh, really?
That's my husband's funeral.
Oh, I forgot.
Oh. Tim, what's your favorite song?
Man, it's a toss-up because I got so many, but the one that I play the most because everybody gets involved. I DJ on the weekends, if you didn't know, is "Don't Stop Believing" by Journey.
Oh, okay.
That was my prom song.
I like that song.
That was my prom song.
Everybody knows it. Everybody sings it. Well, you can even get people to encircle the bride and groom and just sing to their faces this song. It's pretty funny. It's good stuff.
What I love about this, go ahead.
I was going to say "Fireball" would be my favorite modern song.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What is Fireball? What is that?
Fireball. You never heard it?
Nobody's ever heard of that, Tim.
We'll look it up.
Lots of people have heard it. Oh, you can't listen to this song and not move. I've had like 100+ person conga line to this song at a wedding before.
Oh my god!
Wrapped around all three walls of the. Yeah, it was awesome.
Ladies,
what was your favorite song, Ron?
Here I Go Again on My Own by Whitesnake. Come on.
Oh yeah, I'm so sorry. Yeah.
Is it Pitbull?
I'm sorry.
What? Pitbull, yes.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Fireball.
My new thing is because I like to listen to loud music.
Let the dogs out.
The kids now know what time I get to school and they all hang around by my parking spot. So they see what I'm listening to.
That's funny.
I got to give a shout out to our boy Todd. What's up, Todd? He's at King's Ballroom, but still tuning in. Thanks, Todd.
That's
we
awesome.
Appreciate it, man.
Love Todd.
Thank you, ladies, so much for coming. It was an absolute pleasure to have you on.
Was it as bad as you thought it was going to be?
No, it wasn't.
We didn't think it was going to be bad at all.
But I did have my friends that warned me and said it was going to be awful.
No, it's not.
And I said no, it would be fine. We already interacting with all the people on Facebook. If they're going to hate on us, they're already doing it.
Hate me anyhow.
I'm telling you, we're all at the end of the day, we're all Americans.
Yep.
And we have to figure all this out. And even if Gina and Joy had won, y'all would have still been here. I'd have been talking. I've probably been pissed off. But yeah, I really appreciate y'all coming on and giving us another perspective that I'm not used to because I'm just all conservative and Republican. But I really appreciate what y'all do, and
here's what I'm going to tell you: you have to look at both sides of it. And like my boyfriend is Mr. Conservative. And
my husband was a Republican. He just changed to independent.
And he tells me all these stories, and I was like, listen, that sounds like a lot of bullshit to me. I'm going to tell you, if you can't find even a reference to your crazy story on some other news feed, then you can account that it's probably nonsense. And
that's true.
I mean, you could look at 3 different news sources and have 3 different complete stories, but if you can't even find it, then it's probably bizarro.
We just got to figure out where we all agree and start there. And that's what I don't like about what's going on with politics. And this is why I will say I respected Gina and Joy, because I felt that's what they were trying to do, is find where we can come together. And I didn't see that from the other side. I'm just going to say, divisive.
Yeah.
Divided.
I just have to say, I would have loved to have been there with Gina and Joy, but Gina blocked me and she said, "You can't come, Ron."
We were going to go out.
Oh, tell this story.
A public event with Gina. I was looking, because I was a Gina supporter. I was looking forward to this for a month. The day of, they canceled it and made it private invite only.
I saw that. I think I razzed you about that on Facebook. Like,
I know. I recognized your name when I seen it come up. I'm like, I think me and her have gone back and forth.
Yeah, I think we have.
That's okay. I'm probably not as bad as you maybe thought I was, but
that's the thing. We got to talk. We got to talk with our neighbors. We've got to talk with people like this, because we really are all have good hearts, and we all really do want the same thing. And we just, like, that's where Oklahoma, we got to come together as a country, as a state, as a community, and that's why we came on your show.
Who the hell is this?
Cheeseburger says burger cheese. I just wanted to give a shout out because that is hilarious.
That's not funny at all.
To me, it's funny. But anyway,
Amanda, can you hold your hands up like this? Did you get your nails done today?
Oh, no, actually, they're like past due. I'm going on Saturday.
Past due too.
Yeah, we go to the same lady. We go to the same.
Nice.
Nadine's got the tattoos, man. What's up?
I got
that's it. Nice.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about.
The whole situation.
Okay.
All
right.
There you go. Okay.
See, Ron, y'all are
more
nice than you thought.
Just to really, here, do you have a little bucket, Ron, that you could throw up a little bit? Ready?
No.
Bernie Sanders tattooed on my ankle.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Okay, Nadine, I love you. I'm a Bernie Sanders supporter all the way, 100%.
That's who we need.
Are you serious, Nadine?
Bernie would have brought people together, and I'm here to tell you what, if you look at Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, they both had the same argument, was blow up the system. The system is broken, and we need to just burn it to the fucking ground. And Bernie would have actually done it, and Donald Trump, because of where I was raised, is just a criminal mastermind. This is a man that called in as one of his staff members to news organizations to get the news to run a story about himself. Yes, Donald Trump bankrupted independent business owners, because if you go look at all of his bankruptcies, you know who he picks to do the work in his businesses? Small businesses. You know why? Because they can't fight him in bankruptcy court.
Yeah, he's a very litigious guy.
Y'all probably we're real fun.
Y'all probably vote Democrat, don't you?
Oh yeah. Except since I moved to Oklahoma.
I voted for Joy though when she was a Republican.
Joy's a Republican. Let's just Joy is a Republican.
She's still a Republican.
Here's what I'm gonna tell you. When I first moved here, Joe Dorman was Mauricio.
Hi Mauricio.
Who the hell are these people? I don't know these people.
Here we go. These are our students. You're cool. And Marcy.
I feel like I need to take a shower after this.
But when I first moved here, my mother and father are hippies, and they were big into politics. And so I immediately got involved, and Joe Dorman was running for governor.
Put Casey's comment.
I was about to.
Yeah, thank you, Casey, for being a Republican.
Rhino.
No, she's a Republican. Anyway, but so Joe Dorman, then after he lost the campaign, he had this party for the volunteers, and he came up to me and said, "You really worked hard." And I said, "Well, I don't know anybody. I just moved here." And I said, and I have to be honest with you, Joe, I voted for 3 Republicans in my whole life. I voted for Christy Todd Whitman to be governor of New Jersey. I voted for Arlen Specter. I said, and I voted for you. And he said, I'm a Democrat. And I said, Joe, if I picked you up by your little Joe ears and I took you in any of these 50 states and plunk you down, you, sir, are a Republican.
Yeah.
That is
Because
hilarious.
Republicans in Oklahoma are not like anything you've ever
They're
seen.
really not.
And Democrats in Oklahoma are mostly Republicans.
Yes, they are more of the centrist Republicans than anything else.
We just had a
I
deal over here in
completely agree.
Owasso. Dana Perito, the guy that I supported, he just won Senate over here against JJ Dossett, who was a Democrat, registered Democrat, but JJ's just as Republican as I am.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
Ron, I got to say something though real fast. This is my on my heart. Do you have kids?
I have a bunch of kids.
Do you have daughters?
I have 4.
Okay, so here's the thing. Going back to you, I know you support our right to choose and our personal liberty over our body.
Mm-hmm.
If you can vote for a Republican who's against that for other reasons, then that's, you know, like, to me, that's a fundamental thing, liberty. So I really want to encourage you, seek out in your heart next time, consider giving your vote to somebody who will protect the women and girls in your lives and their rights to their body.
No, and James, no. Religion, this is a secular country by design. Thank you. There is no
100%.
religion.
What does that
Okay.
say? I'm curious if teachers agree there. Doesn't belong. No, it does not.
Yeah.
No, not at all.
Okay.
You can teach.
You have a biblical illusion in Hamlet.
Right.
When it comes up as a
Right.
piece of literature, because there was an allusion to the Cain
Yeah,
and
yeah,
Abel
yeah,
story.
yeah.
And I always have to tell them, I'm not preaching, I'm teaching. This is an illusion. If you know it, you know it. If you don't, you don't. All right.
My sister and brother-in-law, they're teachers, lifelong teachers. And my sister is a high school English teacher for 30 years. And she's like, I teach the Bible all the time in my class.
It's
I took
literary
a
reference
class in college called The Bible as Literature.
Right. And I'm like, you can't teach church and Bible. She's like, no. I'm not teaching what it says. I'm teaching about the religion.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Like theology.
Theology
Like,
type
just-
stuff.
There in history
Right.
class, we do cover world religions.
World
In history.
religion.
Yeah, and that's important because it's part of our you know,
The Bible
I mean,
comes out
coming
in
about.
literature.
And
There's
then
a
when you
lot of
get in,
references
if you get
to it.
into the Bible, there's some things that you might not like to have in school because you know the Song of Solomon is some.
Well, same as with like civics. We were taught about the Republican and Democratic parties in high school.
right,
but-
but you're not like told which one to be a part of.
Exactly.
Right.
I completely agree with that stuff. But what I don't agree with is, Joy Hoffmeister's face slapped on the desk and saying Democrats are the best, or
right.
Trump's
Yeah,
Trump's
no, we can't
Trump's
do-
face on the desk saying Republicans are the best. No, that's no.
No.
James
And I will
says
say
amen.
This, I will say this: I've given A's to essays that are pro-life, and I've given F's to essays that are pro-choice. It's all about how the student supports their argument and how well they write it. And my kids all know that. And I have kids who express their opinions, even if they believe it might go against Miss Jeffers. And that's okay that they kind of know it might go against mine because they trust me that I am not going to impose my views on them and their work.
I'm completely 100% sure you would give me an F, Miss Jeffers.
Like, oh, it's
And I have
wrong.
kids, and I have 101 hot topics for middle school essays. And I've had kids do the same thing, abortion. But the 2 best essays I ever had turned in was why we should have a robotics club and why senior citizens should be able to ride the bus for free.
Oh,
And those are
Nice.
and I'm as political
She might
as
sound
they
like a
come.
communist.
So I'm as political as they come.
You don't seem very
Us 2 arguments with facts and figures and information.
political to me, Nadine.
No, well, yeah, not now, but usually I am very political. I'm trying to
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah, Dana says they shouldn't know your views.
That is that's
I
like a
think
period.
that's true, but if they
They
ask
have
you,
to at some point.
Okay,
If-
here's the thing.
if they
When they hit
ask
high
you.
when they hit high school, okay, we talk about the rhetorical triangle all the time. Who is the author? Who is the speaker? And you got to figure out what are their views and how can you appeal to them. I'm teaching them to analyze and figure these things out all around them. So of course they're trying to figure out what their teachers believe. They want to know. They're trying to figure it out.
yeah,
And if I've taught them how to do, if I've done my job
Critical
well,
thinking. If you
then
teach them how
they
to
can
think,
probably figure it out in some way. But I still have kids who who don't know. They will know if I was a Trump supporter or not. They don't know because I really do try to keep it out.
I'm going to ask you, did you vote for Trump? Okay, go ahead and take a drink on that one.
I like beer.
No.
Put that last comment up, Tim. Oh my God.
What's that? That if wrong. Nice.
That's one of our kids.
Y'all brought them. I love it.
Nice.
I love it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. Well, you know what? Do you have any last statements that you'd like to make?
And we're going to have y'all back on because I enjoyed this. This was fun. This was informative, and this is what we needed to do.
Yeah, it is.
It is fun. I had fun.
It's healing. It's healing because
we're gonna start our own YouTube channel. We decided.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes, and then you could have
we
us.
already know what it's going to be called. Are you ready?
Yeah.
It's called Lickerin' and Bickerin'. Oklahoma Political Talk Therapy.
Oh,
nice.
That's
Okay.
Good stuff.
Okay, I'll watch
good
it.
stuff.
Yeah.
I love
We're
it.
gonna make drinks.
Yeah.
Nice. That's
absolutely.
Great.
Y'all make that happen for real. That needs to happen.
We are for real.
We are.
If you have any questions about it, because I do all the producing here, you're
Tim
welcome
does
to
everything.
reach out to me, and I can direct you wherever you need to go.
I'm just the good looking one.
Okay. I don't know if we're gonna go with that T-shirt thing, but we'll.
What T-shirt? This T-shirt?
The real Ron.
How about if you buy us lots of pencils, we'll wear one of your shirts.
Oh, there you go. I will wear one of your shirts on my classroom.
Okay. I'll tell you, I will buy you 700 pencils.
A year, I go through 700 pencils.
I will buy you a year's worth of pencils.
I was fixing to say, I'm going to send y'all both shirts and 700 pencils.
Yeah,
Okay.
me and Ron will pitch in, and we'll get 7. Does it have to be a specific kind of pencil?
Well, I'll be honest. I really do love a Ticonderoga.
Okay,
I do too.
That's the one I used to grow up. Yeah, I grew up with. Yeah.
Number 2 pencil.
And funny story. I actually picked up paper it was pulp, actually tree pulp from Ticonderoga, New York.
My mom and sister live in Maine, and there's paper mills there, and it's one of the worst things you'll ever smell in your whole life.
Oh, it's horrible. It's awful. Yeah, it really is.
Drive past the paper mills to get to my mother's house.
Yeah.
It's awful.
Yeah, it was up in the Adirondacks. Oh my God, it's so gorgeous up there. It is just amazing.
Put up. Who is Mauricio? Who is that?
I think that's one of
our kids.
Yeah, he graduated.
Definitely subscribing to the channel, but I heard liquor is.
Are you legal yet?
Are you 21 yet, Mauricio?
That's going to be a disclaimer. You got to be legal.
You got to be. What's that? 21. Okay. All right. Fair enough.
Ladies, it was a pleasure. I'm glad that y'all came on. It was great.
We had a last word, and I know we have lots of them.
Yes.
But I will say this to all of your viewers out there. I mean, just realize, do what we're doing. Do that with your friends and family.
Yeah.
And I know it's easy when you're on social media to be hating on each other. I get really mad at people I don't know, and I block them. Sorry, I do.
I do.
But we got to.
You can't do that. I mean, you can't do that, Amanda.
I know. I'm sorry.
Don't
have to talk. And I'm going to tell you what else I'm going to say. Teachers, 99% of teachers are in it because they love your kids.
Yeah.
And I mean, how bad could it be if somebody else loves your kids?
Right.
I love here's the thing. I go to work every day. I expect to come home, but if shit goes sideways, I'm going to take one in the face for your kid because I would rather do that than not. And, if we're going to argue about bullshit, then let's argue about gun control.
Next time.
Coming up on the next episode of Lickerin' and what was it? Bickerin'?
Lickerin' and
Bickerin'. Okay. I love it.
I'm going to have to go to the liquor store before I have that conversation.
I love it.
Oh my God.
I love it. Well, thank you all so much. I hope you had a good time. I had a great time. All right. Well, we'll have to have you on again, or you'll have to have us on again, and maybe we could all liquor and bicker.
Yeah.
All right. Y'all have a great night. Thank you very much.
Thanks, ladies.
Ron, we'll catch you on Thursday or on Sunday.
Yes, sir.
Peace.